everybody. Welcome to another episode of Two Strike Noise, your weekly baseball history podcast. I'm one half of the show. My name's Jeff. As always, the other quarter master or half of the show. That's an inside joke. Nobody else is going to get that. But it's Mark A. Johnston. Mark, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. It's the weather has certainly gotten to the point of where it's summer when you walk outside and get hit with that blast of warm air. You know, at least I don't have to go out there and play in this ridiculous heat. I mean, neither of us would do something like that, would they?
No, nor a doubleheader. That
right.
would be stupid. Can you imagine? So what Mark is referencing here is in my hardball league last week, I played a doubleheader out in Livermore, where it was between 97 when we finished the second game, and it was probably up around 100 during when we played these two games, and it wiped me out. Like for the 24 hours after that, I was dead, and I'm still pretty sore right now, but I can't even imagine. Remember back in the day when the Cardinals or the Royals would have a day game? Busch Stadium was AstroTurf, and Kauffman or Royal Stadium at that point was AstroTurf, and they always had that thermometer on the field that they would show what the temperature was.
Yes.
And it was always 110 or whatever. And I remember somebody said that their spikes melted into the AstroTurf at some point. That had to be miserable. Because it was there was a distinct difference when I was playing second base versus being in the outfield. Because at second base, you're on that dirt and it's just reflecting right up on you. It's a lot hotter there, too. Just, ugh.
Yeah, fun, man. Hey, but you are having fun, right?
Yeah. But, you know, the Two Strike Noise studio here is just beautifully air conditioned as well. So no worries there here. But
so maybe we can get some of the kinks out of your neck and it'll be like a sauna.
Yeah, it is a sauna like atmosphere here. But let's just hope everybody else is listening to this at a good temperature wherever you are. And let's get right into this, Mark. We got BP. I might not take all my cuts, all my turns in my group, but let's get going here. So I was thinking of this totally sober, wink, wink, last week. I thought that, Joey Votto and Zack Grienke are retiring after this season. Both of them. They've said so. Whether or not they will, I don't know. But this is what I'm proposing. Put these two men in a VW wagon and let them travel around the country. With a camera crew. Mm-hmm. Put them in somebody's ears, like in Impractical Jokers, and have them tell the person what to say. Have them read a phone book. I don't care. These two should be best friends. I don't know. Maybe they already are. But I just want a camera on them 24/7 because they're both just so out there. I think they would be such a great pair to just watch interact with each other and other people.
Yeah, no, I think you're onto something. Maybe we can talk them into it. Yeah,
I'll just call them up after we're done here. We don't want them to be on the show. We'll just run this idea past them. I had a title for the show though, Deep Thoughts by Jack Venke, or Joey Venke, or whatever. But we got to make this happen because those two are just awesome. I think we played the Joey Votto, wrestler promo.
Yes, that was great.
Yeah. So, Mark, are you watching the Little League World Series?
I have caught a few innings. That's it.
Oh, yeah. It's those of us that work from home. I love it. I love the regionals even more than the actual when they're in Williamsport because it's just like all day I can watch games. And the games are like an hour and a half. And they're just great. But a lot of kids this year rocking the 2-1s, which is not good.
No.
We need to get them on the straight and narrow. If you want that look, because stirrups are awesome looking. If you want that look, you got to put in the work and do it the right way. That's all I'm saying. I think these kids need their work ethic. These kids these days. One of the kids, they have these fun facts. Kind of like if you're at a stadium and it says, Sean Figgins' favorite snack is pineapple upside down cake. They have these kind of questions. And one kid's fun fact was that he was, quote unquote, a mac and cheese enthusiast.
An
enthusiast.
So he collects different types of mac and cheese, I'm sure.
Maybe he probably eats them right away. But another kid, when he was playing defense, So he had an oven mitt in his back, one of his back pockets, sticking out. It was really big, like it went halfway up his back. And in the other pocket, he had like 14 pairs of batting gloves. Now they do provide dugouts. Does he not trust his teammates that they might steal this or what? I don't know why he had to have that much on during the field. Also, 99% of these kids slide feet first. So I'm not sure why they need the oven mitt, other than it looks cool and big leaguers wear it. But I don't think I recall the last time I saw one of them go in head first.
Maybe he was barbecuing in between innings.
Possibly. When I'm playing, I'm afraid to go in head first because I'm afraid I'm just going to stop because I don't remember the last time I've slid head first. I slide feet first all the time when I'm playing, but I'd be afraid to hurt myself or to stick like I was sliding into Velcro. Not
right.
A good
that's always a fear. I always slide head first because if something's going to hit me, I want it to hit me in the head, not somewhere where it's going to hurt.
No, there's not much to damage there either. So
exactly. That's the issue.
Let's see, Mark. Francisco Lindor. I love Frankie. I've always loved Frankie. He's on the Mets now, so I like him a lot. But he uses a different glove almost every game, which is incredible to me.
Wow.
The reason that he can do this is that a lot of them are not all leather. Rawlings has this new glove. It's not so much new, but it's a newer glove. It's called the Rev 1X, and it's almost entirely 3D printed. So this allows him to change and color coordinate his glove with his shoes and his batting gloves every game, just about. Just like Ty Cobb used to do. Remember when he would do that? But during the game a week ago that I was watching, Frankie said that it only takes him about an hour of infield during BP to break in one of these new gloves. That is
an hour.
Bonkers. An hour. I mean, it takes me months to get it to feel like I'm comfortable with it.
I have one I bought when I was 15 and it's almost ready.
You would think it's sitting in the corner over there undisturbed would have broken itself in by now, but
right.
Yeah. But one of the interesting things about this is because it's 3D printed, there are very few laces on it. Obviously there's the laces at the top of the fingers that keep everything together, but in the palm of the glove, there are no laces. So it's more flexible right out of the glove. I know when I get a new glove, the first thing I do is I'm pounding on it. I'm just rolling it. It's all in that palm because all of the laces there is what makes it so stiff. And you got to work that out. Now, this is great. I'm not sure I'm too interested in one for myself, not being leather. They are also $400 a pop. So not like you can just buy one on a whim and see if you like it or not. I thought that was interesting because I noticed that he does color coordinate his shoes, his gloves, his batting gloves, and his fielding gloves, which I thought was interesting how he did that. Mark, something we don't see a lot so much in baseball these days are brawls anymore.
Not a lot.
Certainly not, Atlanta, San Diego. We don't see, people hitting each other over the head with bats or anything. I was reading an article about why there aren't as many brawls anymore. And my favorite theory came from former journeyman catcher and mustache aficionado Sal Fasano, where he said, this is his quote. He said, well, we don't have steroids and we don't have greenies. That's why there's a lot less fights now.
Wow. You know what? That makes a lot of sense.
It does. But, I think those are two big things. Also, guys are making so much money now. They can't afford to get hurt. But I like the greenies and steroids angle. I think that makes sense. I like a good brawl now and then. I'm not going to lie. As long as my team isn't involved, so none of my players are getting hurt, I don't mind one now and then. I'm not going to root for one, but if one happens, I'll watch it. Like that Tim Anderson brawl a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that was an interesting one.
That was. I think a lot of people were happy with the outcome of that one. Not since like Jose Bautista and Rougned Odor had so many people been happy about the outcome of a baseball scrum, but yeah.
I just wanted to yell, down goes Frazier, but his name wasn't Frazier.
No, but, they still adapted it into down goes Anderson. It was a good swing. I'll just say that.
It was.
Mark, except for being a baseball fan where you're involved in a blackout, pretty much anywhere you go around the country, this is a great time to be alive for any sports fan. There was no day baseball and no Little League World Series, as I've been mentioning, on the other day. So I was looking for something else to have on my second monitor while I was working, because I always like to have something. I can't just work in silence. I need something going there. These are the sports that I was able to choose to watch while I was working. This is, like I said, this is a great time to be alive. I had the World Table Hockey Championships, the Wisconsin Auctioneers Championships.
Ooh, whoa.
Yeah. The Microsoft Excel World Championship.
Boy, that just oozes excitement right there.
Yeah, I mean, who can throw together a good spreadsheet the quickest and make it look the best is always good. Also had the Extreme Axe and Knife Games, the Professional Horseshoe League. I've been watching amateur horseshoes all this time, and I didn't know they were better.
Very different.
Yeah, Adult Kickball Championship, Major League Table Tennis, but we're not so elite here. We just call it ping pong. But still, Major League version. Pillow Fight Championships was going on. The Foot Golf World Championships. That's where you play golf, but with a soccer ball. So,
okay.
The Stein holding competition from Germany.
The Stein holding?
That is exactly what it is. It's guys with those huge beer steins full of beer, seeing who can hold them up the longest.
And this is a spectator sport.
They televised it. Let's see. There is the World Dog Surfing Championships.
Surfing. Dogs were surfing, or people were surfing on dogs?
No, I didn't watch, but I'm assuming it was the former and not the latter, because I would have been upset otherwise.
Yeah.
And then grass drag racing, which is just snowmobiles on grass, apparently.
What?
They can't wait for winter. So
but are the drivers on grass, is the question.
I'm sure they have a very strict drug testing policy in the grass drag racing. And finally, the USA Dodgeball All-Star Game.
Wow.
I didn't vote. I forgot to vote for my favorite dodgeballer this year. But there you go. Yeah, those are 100%. I did not make those up. Those are what is on during the day if there's no baseball right now. So, and then, Mark, I sent this to you. This was another totally sober thought that I had come up with. Why at baseball stadiums are the dugouts still below field level?
Yeah.
I need somebody to tell me, why is this a thing? Because the league I play in, the dugouts are all just, there's a fence there to protect you from foul balls and that kind of stuff. But I don't understand, why do you want these highly paid athletes, beyond being able to fall down those stairs going for a ball or fall over the railing, they're wearing metal spikes. Sometimes those stairs get slippery from people spitting, from water, from all that stuff. And if you're not walking on dirt or grass and you're wearing spikes, things get really slippery. I just don't understand this. Plus, you've sat in a dugout in a major league stadium before. You can't even see, if you're sitting in the first base dugout, you can't even see third base, because all of the fields are, kind of on a very slight hill so that the water will drain off and not pool. I need some answers.
Part of it has got to be that, it's called a dugout, so you have to dig something out.
Oh, heaven forbid we change the name.
I'm just telling you, we can't until we change the name. What will we change it to? Player hangout?
Well, maybe that's something we need to do. We need to come up with a new name for it. Maybe that'll spur the change.
There you go. It'll sound so cool.
I mean,
they'll want to call it that.
Remember the stadiums? So let's think of the stadiums that didn't have dug-in dugouts. You had Montreal, the Expos. That was, remember, they had a track even going around the field where they ran track and field, and then the dugouts.
That's right. The Astros, didn't they have just like a fence?
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to remember when in the Bad News Bears, when they were chanting, "Let them play, let them," like, were they in a dugout or was it just straight fence there? Let's see, the Jack Murphy Stadium, the Padres, that wasn't a dugout. That was just that was on the same level. Let's see, is there anybody else? Oh, the Kingdome. The Kingdome had them.
Yep.
I'm going to assume that the Metrodome had them. I think I don't remember if those were dug in or not, but yeah, I don't know. Let's come up with a name and then we'll pitch it next time we're at the Major League Baseball offices.
Yeah, the winter meetings or something.
All right, Mark, this show is debuting on August 16th. Got a couple of names here of players throughout baseball history that have made their debut today. First of all, 1979, John Tudor. Speaking of people that suffered injury from another player falling or running down the dugout and landing on them, John Tudor made his debut in 1979. Overall, 12 years in the big leagues, a 117 and 72 record. Let's see. Wow. 1985 was his best year. He ended up going 21-8, 10 shutouts, 14 complete games, a 1.93 ERA. Led the league in WHIP with a 0.938 for a starter. That was his WHIP. Yeah, came in 8th in MVP voting, 2nd in the Cy Young voting behind Dwight Gooden. That was just incredible that year. As good as Tudor was, Doc went, 24-4 with a 1.53 ERA. He had 16 complete games, 8 shutouts, led the league in strikeouts. His WHIP was 0.965. Gooden had a WAR of 12.2 that year for a pitcher.
Wow.
That's a lot. Of course, Tudor, though, was injured. I think it was Barry Lyons at some point, dove into the dugout to try and catch a ball and ran into Tudor and hurt him. And that caused him to not be able to play very well for a while. But beyond that, that 1985 I was telling you about just now, first of all, he started off 1-7 that year with a 3.74 ERA. So he was really struggling. Then he got a call from his former high school catcher who happened to catch a game on TV that Tudor was pitching, noticed that his delivery was off a little bit, told him about this. Tudor then went on to win 20 more games, including his last 11 consecutive decisions. His ERA after the call, 1.37. So good for him. Gets a call from an old teammate. That's a pretty good story.
Yeah, I remember him just being a solid pitcher. He was the guy that you would go every 5 days. Here we go. We got a chance to win.
I remember a John Tudor baseball card I had that for some reason I drew glasses on him.
You thought he was Tom Yankee.
I don't know why I decided that John Tudor needed glasses, but I decided. It was like one of the, I think I probably found the card on the ground somewhere and did it, but because I was very young, but no excuse. All right. Also making his debut today on August 16th in 1989 is a big SpongeBob SquarePants enthusiast and a big mark for the number 3. It's Larry Walker. So, we've talked about Larry Walker. We've had him in Wax Pack's Heroes several times, nicknamed Booger, nicknamed the Canadian Clubber. 17 years in baseball, Colorado for 10, Montreal for 6, St. Louis for 2. He had some really good years, especially in Colorado. I mean, he's a power hitter. 1997, won the MVP, 49 home runs, batting average of 366. He had 208 hits that year. 49 home runs, 208 hits. You should file that away because I on Immaculate Grid, a lot of times I get caught up on 200 plus hit seasons. Like, I don't know exactly who's hit that magical mark, but Larry Walker did one time, which I would have not thought.
Notes, make a note of it.
Yep, make a note of that. OPS that year, 1.172, which is pretty darn impressive. Of course, he's now in the Hall of Fame, 5-time All-Star, 7-time Gold Glove, won a batting title 3 different times, and 3 Silver Slugger awards as well. A great outfielder. Big arm, too, is what I remember more than the glove, was the arm. Mark, we think of Mookie Betts as being the best baseball player / bowler.
Yes.
Around. But did you know Larry Walker bowled a perfect game, 300 in 2014?
I did not know that.
Yeah, there you go. If you start a fantasy baseball bowling league, here's your top 2 picks. Mookie Betts, Larry Walker. Like I said, won the MVP award with the Rockies, 366, 49 home runs. Also stole 33 bases that year. That's a heck of a season. Never heard his name associated with steroids. I mean, that's right in the prime steroid era, but he was also in Colorado. The first ever Canadian-born MVP. Two other Canadians have won the MVP. Do you have any idea who those two would be?
Two other Canadians.
Yep, we've mentioned one of them already.
But if I've come up with these, that means I have to think.
Yeah, and I know that's not a strong suit, but one is, of course, Joey Votto, the mythical legend. This one, for some reason, I never think of him as Canadian until I hear it, and then I go, oh, yeah, that's right. Justin Morneau.
Oh, yes.
Canadian. Also, Larry Walker is credited as having an appearance on WCW Monday Nitro in 1999.
Really?
I am guessing it was in Colorado. I'm guessing he was just a fan in the crowd, and they used to scan the crowd, and usually there'd be some athletes from whatever city's home team sitting in the front row, because I could find no mention of him anywhere in the synopsis. And Larry Walker being a wrestling fan seems pretty much on brand for Larry Walker. So.
Is he not putting that in front of me and going, there's no way this is going on? No, that makes sense.
And then finally, for debuts, today was a big day in 2006 for Scottish baseball fans, as both Eric O'Flaherty and Ryan O'Malley made their major league debuts.
Very nice.
Yeah, Edinburgh must have been crazy that night. I mean... I can just imagine the pubs there. There have actually only been 8 major league players who were born in Scotland. O'Flaherty nor O'Malley were born there. They were both born in the United States. The most well-known, though, is Bobby Thompson, who, of course, hit one of the most famous home runs ever in the shot heard around the world. The last player in the big leagues that was born in Scotland was Tom Waddell, who pitched for 3 seasons with Cleveland in the 80s. I remember him vaguely. I remember his baseball card. Also, Hugh Nicol, who played for 10 years in the 1880s. He was credited with 138 stolen bases in 1887. Not to be confused with Kid Nichols, the Hall of Fame pitcher who won 30 or more games in 7 of his first 9 seasons with the Boston Beaneaters. I looked that up because I'm like, is this Kid Nichols? I didn't think he was a position player, but 138 stolen bases. Of course, you got credited with a stolen base at that time if you advanced one more base than the batter did. So if you were at second and the batter singled and you scored, you got credit for a stolen base. So not really the way they do it today. Thusly why Hugh Nicol is not in the Hall of Fame and ahead of Ricky Henderson. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we had kept track of Ricky's, going from second to home?
Yeah.
All those stolen bases.
I mean, I probably double.
Yeah.
Especially then, think of the strategy. Like you put somebody like Cecil Fielder behind him who can't run. So, unless it's a home run, it's probably not going to be an extra base hit. And then Ricky just runs and racks up all those extra stolen bases.
Yeah. Yeah. See, there's a way to do it. We just got to get that rule back.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll bring that up next time as well with the dugout thing. Got a lot of things. Can take some notes. All right. That's going to do it for our batting practice segment. Grounds crew out here doing their stuff. They're working hard. Don't forget to tip your grounds crew. It's hot out here. They've got a hose so they can cool off a little bit. They're watering the dirt right now. But with that, Mark, this is a special episode. It's one of our Tales from the Dugout episode. This is show number 223. But this is Tales version 35, according to my notes. That's a lot of tales we've told.
Yeah.
But, you want to tell some more?
Sure, why not?
All right. Why don't you go ahead and start out?
Well, okay. Well, I was checking out some more Yankee stuff, and just trying to figure out.
As you do. You're a big Yankee fan.
As prone to do.
Yeah.
Yes. And I discovered that the Yankees have played around 18,700 games in their history. So in that history, how many times has a Yankee hit 4 home runs in one game?
Well, I mean, it's only a handful of guys have done it, period.
Yes.
I'm gonna guess just the way you're leading off here. I'm gonna say the Yankees have never done it.
It's a good guess, but they've done it one time. It was Lou Gehrig.
Oh, really?
Lou Gehrig hit 4 home runs in one game. And then the other one I wanted to point out was in all these 18,000 games, only one player, Tony Lazzari, has ever hit for the natural cycle. So single, double, triple home run in that order. So that's only happened once, as well as the 4 home runs has happened once. Now, here's the crazy part. Both the above events happened in the same game, June 3rd, 1932.
Wow. What was the final score of this game?
Hold on. I have it called up right here. It was, I got a box score and everything. 20-13, the Yankees beat the Philadelphia Athletics. Looking at some of these line scores, they're pretty interesting. We got Lou Gehrig 4 for 6 that day with 6 RBI. And then Tony Lazzari was 5 for 6. Even Babe Ruth got in on the action, 2 for 5 with a home run. Pretty crazy game. And to have those 2 events happen, they've only happened once in the 18,000 game history of the Yankees, but they happened on the same day. I thought that was pretty cool.
Wow. That is incredible. Yeah. I guess it also goes to show the Yankees are really overrated. The fact that they only have one of each of those.
Yes, they haven't won much.
Wow. All right. Well, go Yankees. We're big fans here, so we'll just sit back and silently enjoy that one. So, Mark, one of my buddies who I met at fantasy camp last year, and I still hang out with, he lives pretty close to me here. He got to throw out the first pitch at the A's-Rangers game a week ago.
Nice.
Yeah, very cool. I caught some, we'll call them bullpens. I'll do the air quotes for him to practice when we get together and throw the ball around and do that kind of stuff. He was determined to throw from the mound, which if you haven't thrown from a mound before is a lot different than throwing from flat ground. Plus the fact you're in the middle of a Major League Baseball park, everybody's watching. You obviously need to concentrate and know what you're doing so you don't end up looking like 50 Cent did when his debacle of a first pitch. By the way, I did let him know that if he did insist on going to the rubber and he ended up not making it all the way to home plate, I was definitely gonna never let him hear the end of that. But he got it there, no problem. We'll call it an Eric Gregg called strike. But okay. I was impressed because I doubt in that situation I would have been able to get it anywhere near the plate. So he did a really good job. But I was thinking about the history of first pitches. I mean, every game obviously has the first pitch. Otherwise, the game couldn't start. But the ceremonial first pitch is what I was really thinking about. Past presidents throwing out the first pitch is really the only real newsworthy first pitch, unless somebody just does something horrendous and, spikes it or hits a cameraman in the groin or, something like that you see every now and then. The first presidential first pitch was William Taft in 1910. Now, if you know anything about presidential history, you know that Taft was a rather rotund individual. He was listed at 5'11" and at his heaviest weighed around 340 pounds. So, he's a big guy. It was just a little bit different than what we see today, though. He threw it out from the stands when he did this for the very first time. Now, I'm not sure if it was because they just thought that's how it should be done, or if getting him on the field was just not in the cards to get a man that big out of the stands and onto the field. I don't, back in 1910, I'm guessing nobody was on the field except for the players. But once he did it from the stands, that's where it took place. First one was at National Park in D.C. The Nationals, not the Senators, were hosting the Athletics. The Nats won the game. So baseball being a bit superstitious, I don't know if we've ever touched on that. They invited Taft back the next season to do it again. The Senators won again. So in 1912, it doesn't seem silly to ask him back to throw out the first pitch again. One thing, though, there were a couple of notable historical things that happened in 1912. One, Fenway Park opened, but also the Titanic sunk the same day that Fenway Park opened. Really foreshadowing the next, 100 plus years of baseball at Fenway. But one of Taft's friends and aides, Archibald Butt, drowned in that disaster, and he was attending the funeral.
Archibald. You don't hear that name anymore.
Nor do you hear a lot of guys named Butt.
Not a lot.
No, not as many as there probably should be. Presidential first pitches became a thing, and all but Jimmy Carter, the last guy and the current guy, have thrown out first pitches either on opening day, the All-Star game, or the World Series while serving as president. So, Biden hasn't done it as president. He did it as vice president, though.
Gotcha.
Franklin Roosevelt has thrown the most. He did it 11 times while in office, which I'm going to go ahead and say that that's not going to be broken.
It'd be a tough one to break these days, yes.
Yeah. George W. Bush did it 14 times, but not all while president. But not all of them were while he was president. He's done a lot since. Even before he was president, he threw out a couple of times. The tradition of throwing it from the stands, though, that went by the wayside when one Mr. Ronald Reagan showed up, I think from everything I can read here, unannounced at Wrigley Field. And this is, I'm just going to let Harry Carey describe it.
There he is with a Cub jacket on. Ronald Reagan, the President of the United States. In a moment, he'll be introduced to the crowd.
We direct your attention to the Cubs dugout area. The Cubs are honored to have a special guest here today. Please welcome the President of the United States throwing out the ceremonial first pitch.
A great hand to the President of the United States. He's had two great presidencies. John Madigan greeting him. Mary Ellen Cobb, the ball girl. Boy, oh boy, does he ever look good? How does he do it?
What a moment this is in the history of Wrigley Field.
How about a moment for Mary Ellen Cobb as she walks the president out to the pitching mound. Now let's see the form he displayed. And Damian Berryhill, who's from Southern California, crowd giving him a great welcome. Now let's watch his pitch. High and inside. Damon Berryhill. How about the thrill for that 24-year-old rookie catcher? The President of the United States will come up to the broadcasting booth. If so, you'll have a chance to hear him as the people in Des Moines, Iowa used to hear him when he would recreate Chicago Cubs game.
I think he wants to throw another one. I don't think he was very happy with the location of that first one.
Hey, that one's much better. Boy, how old is he, 74? Boy, does he ever look marvelous.
I think he looks good in the Cub jacket.
He would look good in anything. He's just a good-looking fella.
So, Mark, I'm not sure who Harry was thirsting over more there, Reagan or the ball girl, Mary Ellen Cobb.
Yes.
But he's a big fan of both, apparently. A couple of things to note here, as Harry said. Reagan signed the ball for then rookie Damon Berryhill. Damon Berryhill, good score for me last week on Immaculate Grid. Also, he threw a mulligan. The first one was a bit inside, and so Damon Berryhill had a second ball. The president took it and waved him back and threw a second one. Just
get it right, you know?
Yeah, and by the way, Berryhill was not even behind the plate. He was standing out in front of the home plate dirt. It was not from the rubber type of thing here. But what was not noted here, though, was that this was the first time that a president did throw an opening pitch from the field and not from the mound.
Ah.
So now nobody throws it from the stands. I don't remember the last time if I've ever seen that. Also interesting to note that, as Harry said, Reagan at one point did play-by-play for the Cubs in the 1930s for a station in Des Moines, Iowa, where he would recreate games from a wire feed that he would get. One time that wire went down, and he described the same batter, fouling off 17 straight pitches until the wire was fixed, and then he caught up with what was going on in the actual game. But quite a battle in that one AP. Also should note that even today, I don't believe if Reagan were in Des Moines, Iowa, he would be able to watch the Cubs because I think it'd be blacked out, just like it was then. He had to use the wire.
Well, that just ain't right.
Yeah, but we'll bring that up too. We got a long list here when we go to
grievances.
Go to Manhattan next. Yeah, I think the only time since that Reagan pitch that there was a ceremonial pitch thrown from the stands was when Queen Elizabeth threw out the first pitch in a game between the Angels and the Mariners. Reggie Jackson caught it, and for some reason this game was played in Dodger Stadium.
Yes. It's very odd.
Yeah, very odd. Fun fact, that was also the first and only game that the game was umpired by the national anthem singer as well, pulling double duty that day.
Enrico Palazzo, I believe it was.
Oh, there you go. Very nice. The last actual sitting president to throw out the first pitch on opening day was Barack Obama. He did that at the Nats in 2010, which just so happened to be the 100-year anniversary since Taft first did it, also at a Nationals game. And at a park called National Stadium.
Whoa.
Okay. I did not realize that the old-timey Nationals played at National Stadium, which is what their current stadium is called. I was always wondered why there wasn't a sponsor attached to it, but maybe that's why.
Yeah.
I did see one thing that I did not remember that I wanted to talk about when it comes to first pitches. Instead of throwing from the mound to the plate in 2012, the Rangers had a retirement ceremony for Ivan Rodriguez. And instead of having Pudge, the future Hall of Fame catcher, throw from the mound, he took a squat behind his familiar spot behind home plate, and he threw a bullet down to second base to former teammate Michael Young.
Perfect.
I thought that was pretty cool. Speaking of that, Mark, I was texting with you a couple of days ago, and I was watching a Savannah Bananas game. And one of the pitchers came in relief, and he pitched from second base.
What?
I didn't get all of the rules, but I think if you pitch from there, you only have to get one strike to get the out or something. But he got it to home plate, but it wasn't a strike, and then he went to the mound. But that was really weird to see a guy behind second base throwing to a batter at home.
I don't even think I'd have to hit a cutoff, man.
Yeah, trust me. In my league, there's a lot of cutoffs. Let's see, Mark. We get time for another quick one from you.
Here's one. Is this little story I found about one of your heroes, Zack Grienke.
Yeah, very topical.
Yes. And it was before a June 26th game between the Royals and Oakland Athletics. And a 16-year-old kid wanted Zach to autograph a baseball. He came up to Zach with the ball and said, "Can I get your autograph?" And Zach looked right. He said, "Here, I'm going to quote him." Zach took the ball and he looked right up at me and he stared at me for about 5 seconds and he threw the ball. And I was like, wow, that was crazy. Hey, Zach, I just want to know, why did you do that? Why would you do such a thing? And he just said, "For my amusement." And I was really just shocked. Okay, but listen, a few days later, the team acknowledged the incident and said that Grienke had saw Waterworth, the guy that wanted the autograph, pushing younger fans out of the way to get to the ball. So he didn't want to sign for the kid. He didn't like what he had done. He did sign autographs for the younger fans that were over there. He just chucked the one kid's ball across the field. You know, this is the same guy who sat there and watched, remember when he sat on the grass and watched them fix the mound?
Yep. Crisscross applesauce style.
Fun stuff like that. So it's not all that odd for him to be the one that did it, but I just thought it was hilarious. He didn't like what the kid did, so he chucked his ball across the field.
I'm telling you, get him and Joey Votto together and just roll tape.
Absolutely, man. That is a reality show. It's going to be better than every other reality show, guaranteed.
Yeah. I mean, we've got to have some big-time Hollywood producers listening. I mean, they got nothing else to do right now.
No, right. They don't.
Let's make this happen. I mean, we just want some executive producer credit and, maybe some tickets. Well, I guess they wouldn't be playing. Let us go with them. We'll be in the chase car. But let's. I think this would be such a great idea. All right, Mark. Thank you very much. That's going to do it for our Tales from the Dugout segment. It is now time. We're going to head into the last part of the show. It is a segment that we like to call, and so we still do. Wax Pack Heroes. Wax Pack Hero. Gonna pull a wax back hero. Dark stars in his eyes. Back hero. On a podcast tonight. All right, Mark, looking up at the scoreboard, I have a bit of a lead right now, which is scary. I mean, uncharted territory. The scoreboard reads 10-7. We played at 20. I've never won, ever. 4-time defending champion you are. Yeah, I'm feeling it right now. We're going to open up a couple of packs of baseball cards. If this is your first time here, what we're going to do, open up these packs, and we are going to add up the Baseball Reference WAR of the year of the packs. And beyond doing that, a couple of things that can add or subtract points to that as well. Anything on the player's face, that means eye black. Glasses, sunglasses, flip downs, beards, mustaches, Brady Anderson's sideburns, anything like that, going to give you an extra 10th of a point of WAR. If they got a really good mustache, we'll even give them an extra 10th of a point if it's like a Keith Hernandez, Wade Boggs mustache. If they're wearing real stirrups where we can see sanitary socks, that's a 10th of a point. But the 2-in-1s, we already covered that in the Little League World Series portion. That's a minus 10th of a point because you got to work to look that good. If they won an award the year of the card, that means Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, MVP. If they were an All-Star or won a Gold Glove, that's a half a point each. If there's a Hall of Famer on the card, whether they're the focus of the card or not, that's a whole extra point. If Ricky Henderson shows up in either Mark's pack or my pack, I get 5 points for that. If Nolan Ryan does, Mark gets the 5 points. Any pop culture references that we find, they're going to get an extra half a point each, unless they were in an episode of either The Simpsons, Seinfeld, or Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Then you get a whole extra point award because those appearances are legendary. And if the player appears in the Mitchell Report or is suspended for drugs or anything like that during their playing years, that's a minus half a point because that is not what we like. And then, Mark, we're each going to pick a team. And just like Ricky or Nolan, if my team shows up in either pack, I get a half a point. Your team, you get the point. What team would you like to go with this week?
I'm gonna go with the Kansas City Royals.
Is that in honor of Zack Grienke?
Sure. As far as anyone knows.
All right, well, then I'm going to go with the Reds in honor of Joey Votto.
There you go.
So, Mark, we're finishing up a couple of rack packs here. I have got one section of some 91 Fleer and another section of some 90 Fleer. So we're going Fleer either way, but either 90 or 91. Which one would you like?
I think I got to go with 90.
All right, Mark, so you have got 1990 Fleers. We're going to start off right here. We're going to start off with a guy that I tend to use a bit in the Immaculate Grid. It is none other than Devon White.
Very nice. That could be good.
Just BT Dub here. He is with the California Angels at this point. One of our two favorite guys that were born in Kingston, Jamaica, along with Chili Davis. Overall, 17 years in the big leagues. 6 with the Angels, 5 with Toronto, 2 with the Dodgers, 2 with the Marlins, 1 with the D-backs, and 1 with the Brewers. I don't remember the Brewers or the D-backs, but I need to file that away because, like I said, I use them quite often in that game. Let's see. In 1990, let's see. Fresh off his Gold Glove and All-Star performance the year before, appeared 125 games, hit 217 at 290 on base. Yikes. Ouch. 11 home runs, 44 RBI, 21 stolen bases, and a 79 OPS plus. And that equals a 1.7, which is better than a poke in the eye.
I thought I was going to get less than that with that 217.
Yeah, let's see here. He's got a mustache on, so you're going to get points for that. But I think that's going to be it on this card. 3 World Series for Devo. That's pretty impressive. 2 with Toronto in 92 and 93, and then he was on the Marlins in 1997 to win another World Series there. He was traded for Junior Felix and Luis Sojo at one point, so he's got that going for him. Mm-hmm. Received a scholarship to play both college basketball and baseball for Oklahoma State.
Wow.
So that's pretty impressive. Originally... No in Jamaica, his last name was spelled Wyte. But of course, it got misspelled when it got changed when they immigrated as Happens to a lot of people. Let's see. This could count here, Mark, as a pop culture reference. Appeared in the Canadian children's television show Under the Umbrella Tree.
Oh, well, it's Canadian, so it should only be like half of what.
No, come on. Joey Votto is Canadian. He appeared in uniform at the Sky Dome, and he talked with Jacob Blue Jay and Iggy Iguana.
Oh, Iggy, sure.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to definitely say that's a tenth of a point for pop culture reference. Or no, it's a half a point, right? Yeah. So that helps you. All right. So you're at 2.3 after one card. That's nice. Next, you got a Hall of Famer, a newly minted Hall of Famer that is not Scott Rowland. If that tells you anything, it is Fred McGriff.
Oh, I was going to guess Rogers Hornsby.
Yeah, he finally got in. That
about time.
That Veterans Committee finally snuck him in. But Fred McGriff, 19 years in the big leagues, another good immaculate grid name. 5 with the Rays, 5 with Atlanta, 5 with Toronto, 3 with the Padres, 2 with the Cubs, 1 with the Dodgers. Of course, we've mentioned he ended up with 493 career home runs, but he still got in. Deservedly so. Also a big fan of defensive drills videos that he knew nothing about. 1995, he was a member of the World Series team in Atlanta, nicknamed the Crime Dog or the Fire Dog. Fire Dog, really, just one day, I think he was the Fire Dog. But let's see, in 1990, he was in his final year with Toronto. At age 26, he hit 300, a 400 on base, and a 530 slugging. Wow, that's impressive. 35 home runs, 88 RBI, 5 stolen bases for Fred McGriff, and a 153 OPS plus. How many stolen bases do you think Fred McGriff has in his career?
Geez, I don't know.
He had 5 this year.
Okay, well, we'll go with 30.
72.
Really?
Only caught 38 times. I mean, that's half the time he was caught. But, for Fred McGriff, that's pretty impressive.
Sure, yeah, I wouldn't have thought that.
Let's see. All of that equals a 5.2 WAR. He is, of course, a Hall of Famer, and he has got a mustache. So that'll be a 6.3, just looking at the card.
And do I get the Tom Amansky points?
I think that's got to be pop culture. I mean, I've got a T-shirt with that, so
there you go.
I'm going to definitely give you the additional half a point for that. Wow, he hit really good in the playoffs. Career 303 with a 385 on base in 50 games in the playoffs, and that includes 10 home runs.
Wow.
In 50 games. That's very impressive.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, of course, drafted by the Yankees and then was traded by the Yankees with Mike Morgan to the Blue Jays for Tom Dodd and Dale Murray. Then, of course, in a couple of blockbuster trades, traded by the Blue Jays with Tony Fernandez to the Padres for Roberto Alomar and Joe Kelly. I mean, Joe Kelly and Joe Carter, which obviously one of the biggest deals in our lifetime, I think, that ever went down.
Yep.
Oh, apparently Marty Barrett was the first one to call him Crime Dog.
Marty Grinnin Barrett. He got it right. It's a great name.
Yeah, it really is. Nothing else. Doesn't have anything else listed here in terms of Fred McGriff and pop culture, but that Tom Amansky is definitely enough. Oh, well, we've mentioned this before. He was uncredited, but he appeared in the movie On the Line with Lance Bass, Joey Fatone, and our girl Emmanuel Chikiri. Chikiri, I think that's how you say it.
Chikri? I think.
I don't know. I get lost in her eyes. But so we. I'm not sure I'm going to give you the points on that as much as I am the Tom Amansky. You are at 9.1 after 2 cards, so I think you're doing okay. Next, we've got a guy that was the cousin of my insurance agent when I lived in Arizona, and also apparently not liked that well by players, but he caught a couple of perfect games. It's Ron Hasse.
Ron Hasse played for a good while, didn't he?
14 years. He's one of those backup catchers. Yeah. Cleveland for 7, Oakland for 3. He won a World Series with the A's in '89. Yankees for 2, White Sox for 2, Montreal and the Cubs 1 apiece. Let's see. In 1990, as a 37-year-old, it was his final of 3 years in Oakland. Appeared in 94 games, hit 213, 288 on base, 5 home runs, 22 RBI, and a 69 nice OPS plus. And that is a .6 WAR. Nothing else on this card is going to get you anything. Wow, he hit pretty well in the playoffs as well. He didn't didn't get many ABs, but he still hit 323 with a 439 on base during 16 playoff games. So that's not bad at all. He was traded a lot. Wow. He at one point was traded for Joe Carter as well. He was traded with Rick Sutcliffe. Came over from Cleveland to the Cubs. And then, of course, Sutcliffe just had an incredible year. Rest of the year in Chicago. Also traded for Henry Cotto. There's a name we haven't said for a while. Britt Burns, one of your buddies. And Scott Bradley. So a couple of names. Oh, and Ron Ma and Pa Kittle. Don't want to forget that. So Hasse caught Len Barker's perfect game in 1981. Then we mentioned he got traded a bunch. Well, in Oakland, he caught Welch. He was Welch's personal catcher. Welch went on to win the Cy Young and 27 wins that year. And then in 91, he got Tennis Martinez's perfect game for the Expos against the Dodgers. So pretty impressive to have caught one perfect game, let alone multiple perfect games. Let's see. All right, you're at 9.7. Next, we've got a guy. I always thought that this was just his last name. 5 for 1. It's Von Hayes with the Phillies.
I always liked Von Hayes.
I didn't see a lot of Von Hayes. I never saw nor watched a lot of Phillies games. 12 years in the big leagues, 9 with Philadelphia, 2 with Cleveland, 1 with the Angels. In 1990, in Philadelphia at age 31, hit 261, 375 on base, 17 home runs, 73 RBI, 16 stolen bases for a 118 on base, for a 118 OPS plus, and that is good for 3.1 WAR.
Very nice.
Yeah, nothing else on the card is going to help you out, but it's a good number for old 5 for 1, which of course refers to the trade where Cleveland sent him to Philadelphia for Jay Baller, who has just got awesome baseball cards, Julio Franco, Manny Trio, Greg Vukovich, and Jerry Willard. There we go for Von Francis Hayes. Purple Haze. That was one of the names.
Yes, there you go.
All right, next we move on to, we got a lot of Blue Jays in here. We've got a catcher for the Blue Jays, Pat Borders. Big fan of Ricky Henderson.
Pat Borders is still a hero in Toronto.
He played for the Mariners too, right?
He did. I think it was just for a short amount of time, but yep, he did. 5
years he played for Seattle.
Short amount of time.
He played there for 4.5. Then he got traded to Minnesota and then re-signed with the Mariners for his final year in 2005. Overall, though, 17 years in the big leagues, 8 with Toronto, 5 with Seattle, 3 with Cleveland, 1 apiece with Minnesota, Kansas City, St. Louis, California, Houston, and the White Sox. In 1990, a lot of teams. But I mean,
he's
again,
a cheat code, man.
Yeah, he wasn't so much that perennial backup catcher like Ron Hasse, but later in his career, he definitely was. And I mean, I think he's got a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
In 1990, his third year in the big leagues, 286 average, 319 on base, 15 home runs, which is his career high, his third year in, 49 RBI, and a 120 OPS plus. And that is good for a 3.0 WAR.
Wow.
He's also got a wispy mustache, so that'll be a 3.1. Let's see, won a couple of World Series, obviously with the Blue Jays, and was also named the World Series MVP in 1992, where he hit 450 with a 500 on base for the World Series, 3 doubles, a home run, and 3 RBI.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's right. All right, so you're at 15.9, couple of cards left. You have got this guy from the Bucks. I believe he is the head of the cigarette company. It's R.J. Reynolds.
Oh, yeah, I remember that guy. He got sued pretty bad, I think, for the whole cigarette thing.
Yeah, probably should have just stuck to baseball. But nonetheless, R.J. Reynolds played for 8 years in the big leagues, 6 with the Bucks, 3 with the Dodgers. 1990 was his final year at age 31, 95 games, 288 batting average, 354 on base, no home runs, 19 RBI, still had 12 stolen bases for a 97 OPS plus, and that is a WAR of exactly 0.0.
Well, at least he didn't hurt me.
Now he does have real stirrups on. He's like one of the first guys that has shown stirrups. Everything else has been waist up shots, but here is an actual action shot. So you're going to get that 10th of a point for the stirrups there. Got that going for you. Second round draft pick by the Dodgers in 1980. And surprisingly enough, it doesn't mention anything about him owning a cigarette company. So I'm not sure where that came from. Yeah, kind of weird. Also played in Japan. Let's see. He played for 2 different teams. He played 2 years for the Whales, the Yokohama Whales, and then one for the Kinitsu Buffaloes. But yeah, 100+ games in all 3 seasons. So good for him. Yeah, we always appreciate when that happens. All right, here comes a guy, another guy I used for a very low score last week in Immaculate Grid. With the Twins, it's Dan Gladden. He came in handy because I remember he played for the Giants as well.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Let's see, Dan Gladden, 11 years in the big leagues, 5 with Minnesota, 4 with the Giants, and then 2 with the Tigers as well. 1990 with the Twins, he hit .275, a .314 on base, 5 home runs, 40 RBI, 25 stolen bases, and an 88 OPS plus, and that is a minus 1.1 WAR. Wow, his defense must be a little suspect, I would guess.
Just so.
Good news for you, though, is he's got a mustache. He's got eye black and he's got flip downs.
That makes sense. That sounds like Dan Gladden.
So yeah, that'll get you an extra 0.3 of a point. Won 2 World Series, both with Minnesota in 1987 and 1991. He pitched a couple of times. He appeared in 2 different games, one in 88, one in 89. Pitched 2 innings, gave up 2 hits, 1 run. It was earned, and walked 1 and threw a wild pitch. So ERA of 4.50, which is pretty good for 2 innings for a non-pitcher like Dan Gladden.
This is interesting. Dan Gladden's wife, so I guess his father-in-law, her father, played in the Negro Leagues.
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah, I don't think we've ever brought that up.
Yeah, Janice Murphy is her name.
Oh, I think we've mentioned this before. Has some daughters, one of whom married and had a child with Gary Gaetti's son.
Weird.
That lineup produced more than just 2 World Series. Also produced some offspring. All right, you got 2 cards left. You're at 15.2. Here with Atlanta, this is outfielder, not the catcher. This is outfielder Tommy Gregg.
Okay.
Tommy Gregg with 2 G's. Let's see, 9 years in the big league, 6 with Atlanta, 2 with Pittsburgh, and then 1 with Cincinnati and Florida. In 1990, 124 games. That was a career high for him. Hit .264, 322 on base, 5 home runs, 32 RBI, 4 stolen bases, a 91 OPS plus, and a WAR of .4. So you're in the positive there. Nothing else on this card is going to help you out. Let's see, did not win a ring with anybody, but got to the playoffs a couple of times, and was traded for Ken Oberkfell at one point. So he's got that going for him. All right, and your final card is pitcher for the Bucks. It's Bob Kipper.
I do remember Mr. Kipper with the Pirates.
Yeah, let's see, Bob Kipper. Overall, 8 years in the big league, 7 with the Bucks, and then split a season between Minnesota and California. Overall, let's see, in 1990 with the Bucks, he went 5-2 with a 3.02 ERA. That was mainly out of the bullpen. He did get 1 start and a couple of relief appearances. He got 3 saves, 62 2/3 innings, and a 35 strikeouts for a 1.20 ERA plus. I believe this is the only pitcher in your entire pack.
I think so, yeah.
And overall, that is a WAR of .6, and he does have some real stirrups on here, so that'll be a .7. I am not sure you're going to get much pop culture points out of Bob Kipper.
Bob Kipper?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Let's see, drafted in the first round in 82 by the Angels. Yeah, nothing there for Bob Kipper in pop culture. So overall, Mark, that's a 16.3. You were at 9.1 after 2 cards. So
yeah, it slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, definitely slowed down. So now you had the 90 Fleer, so I am going to be opening the 91 Fleer. All right, so here we go, Mark. We're going to start off with the guy that you had in your pack as well. It's none other than A's backstop, Ron Hassey.
Hey, I bet you can figure out his numbers real quick.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go into too much. Only mine is an actual game action, but yeah, can't see his stirrups because he's got the protective gear on. No eye black, no must. Just not a good effort by Ron Hassey. Let's see. So you got in yours, you had a .6 WAR from him. Mine, his final year was in Montreal '91. In 52 games, a .1. So,
Ooh.
I mean, I guess it's better than a 0, but still. All right, well, get that out of the way. Oh, this is one of my favorite players. We have talked about this guy before. He is related also to Edgar Martinez. Here with Pittsburgh, it is Carmelo Martinez.
Yes.
I think I always liked him because I always was a fan of Carmelo candy bars.
See, and I always refer to him as Marshmallow.
Well, he had kind of a marshmallow-esque physique, but I mean, caramel and oh yeah, it's a good candy bar.
It is a good candy bar. I gotta agree with you on that one. I like that one.
Let's see, 9 years in the big leagues, 6 with the Padres, 2 with the Bucks, and then parts of seasons with Kansas City, Cincinnati, the Cubs, and the Phillies. In 1991, wow. He started off with the Bucks, then he went to the Royals, and then he went to the Reds. Overall, he hit 222. This was his final year in the big leagues as well. 324 on base, 10 home runs, 36 RBI, a 93 OPS plus, and all of that will equal a .7 WAR. I'll take it. Nothing else in this picture on this card is going to help me out with anything there. Well, it says here that in 2008, while interim manager at Single A Peoria, he got in a shoving match with Donnie Scott, manager of the Dayton Dragons, and they ended up shoving each other, leading to a bench-clearing brawl.
Fun.
Yeah. Also hit his very first at bat. He hit a home run for the Cubs.
Wow, cool.
At Wrigley Field, so that's got to be good. And also played for 1 year in Japan for the Oryx Blue Wave. So Ichiro was an 18-year-old on the Blue Wave that year, hit 253 in 40 games. And so was Kelvin Torvey, who we've talked about that we don't, and Shigetoshi Hasagawa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, some fun names there. All right, next, moving on to my next card. It is a member of the Boston Red Sox wearing real stirrups. It is Marty Barrett.
Who we mentioned earlier.
Yep, just he gave Fred McGriff the nickname Crime Dog.
That's right.
10 years in the big leagues, 9 with Boston, and then a final year in 91 with the Padres. That doesn't bode well for me. Only appeared in 12 games, hit 188, 1 home run, 3 RBIs, 83 OPS plus, and a -0.1. He does have real stirrups, though, so that'll be a wash for me on Marty Barrett. MVP of the 1986 ALCS. I don't think he won a World Series that year with Boston. Can't be sure. I don't mean to rub that in, but suck it. Was drafted 4 different times, twice in the first round. Finally was drafted number 1 overall by the Red Sox in 79 and signed with them. Do I get points for him coining the phrase Crime Dog or giving the nickname out?
I don't think so.
No? All right. Well, that doesn't help me. I'm at 0.8. I'm really making up some ground here. Next, I've got a San Francisco Giant. Let's see. He's got real stirrups. He's got eye black as well, and I'm probably going to need it. It's Ernest Riles.
Ernie Riles. Nice.
One of the small handful of players that played for both the Giants and the A's.
Yep.
Let's see, 9 years in the big leagues, 4 with Milwaukee, 3 with San Francisco, and then 1 apiece with Houston, Boston, and Oakland. In 91, it was his turn in the green and gold. He only hit 214, 290 on base, 5 home runs, 32 RBI, 3 stolen bases, a 75 OPS plus, and that is a good for at least a 0.4. Plus, he's got the eye black and the real stirrups, so that'll be a 0.6 for me. Taking me up to a big 1.4.
1.4. What do you threw? 4 cards?
All right, so I need some big names here. This next card probably not going to help me a whole lot. Here he is with Cleveland. It is Mitch Webster.
Oh, I remember that show.
Alex Karros was great.
Yes, that's right.
I try to use him in the football Immaculate Grid. I just don't know any teams that he played for, so it's hard.
You just throw it out there?
Yeah, I go through the basketball and the football, and I just try to get one or if at 1 or 2 correct. Hockey, I can generally get a couple, but I do it every day. I just spend a couple of minutes on those other ones as well. Let's see. Mitch Webster spent 13 years in the big leagues, 5 with the Dodgers, 4 with the Expos, 3 with Toronto, 2 with Cleveland and Chicago, the Cubs, and 1 with the Pirates. In 1991, played for 3 teams. I've got to theme going on here today. Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and the Dodgers. Overall, he hit 222, 296 OP. These sound just like Ernest Riles numbers. 296 on base, 2 home runs, 19 stolen bases, 19 RBI, and 86 OPS plus. And all of that together will equal a minus 1.0.
Wow.
Mitch Webster. He does have real stirrups on, and he's got eye black. So
a little something for you.
Yeah, so that will only take me down to 0.6. Not a good look here for this game. All right, next up, I got a lot of A's here. I wish I would have picked them as my team. Nicknamed the Colonel, it's Joe Klink, which I forget what show that was from. It was
Hogan's Heroes.
Hogan's Heroes, yeah. I've never seen an episode of that. Let's see. Joe Klink, 5 years in the big leagues, 2 with Oakland, 1 with Minnesota, 1 with Seattle, 1 with the Fish. In 1991, with Oakland, he went 10-3, all out of the bullpen. Big time vulture alert. 4.35 ERA, 62 innings pitched, 60 hits, 34 Ks, 88 ERA plus, and that is a WAR of exactly 0. And he's got on the 2-1s because everyone on the A's was wearing 2-1s in 1991.
Definitely.
Not cool. Let's see. Did not pitch in the ALCS that year and got into one game in the World Series where he walked a batter and then that was it. But you know what? He pitched in the World Series, so
true.
He's got that going for him.
He once went 90 consecutive games without allowing a home run.
If you're interested, nobody has claimed Joe Klink's biography on the Sabre website. If you are interested, go ahead and jump on that. All right. Let's see. I am at 0.5 with 3 cards left here. I don't have a whole lot of hope to catch you at 16.3.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Next, we have got closer for the Angels. Also, for Immaculate Grid fans, pitch for the Fish. It is none other than Brian Harvey. You know, it would be a good strategy if you play Immaculate Grid would be to listen to this segment of our show while you're playing it one day. Because we're going through a bunch of names that might help you. 9 years in the big leagues, like I said, 6 for California, 3 with the Marlins. In 1990, went 4-4 with a 3.22 ERA, 54 games, 25 saves, 82 strikeouts in 64 innings for a 1.19 ERA plus. And that will be a WAR of 1.3. He's got a mustache on there. He always had that kind of horseshoe mustache, so I'll take that. Father of Hunter Harvey, we've mentioned that before. Chris Harvey, another son, played in the minors for the Pirates, but I don't believe he ever got a call up. Okay, second to last card here. Not one of my favorite players. Here he is with the Chicago White Sox. It is Blackjack, Jack McDowell.
McDowell, he was a pretty solid starter, though, that guy.
Let's see, 12 years. He pitched well. He didn't win a World Series with the Yankees, where he played. I guess he only played New York for 1 year. Flipped off the camera as he was leaving the field one game, famously. Did win the Cy Young in 1993. Went 22-10 with a 3.3 ERA. In 1990, however, he went 14-9, 3.82 ERA, 205 innings pitched, 165 strikeouts for a 1.01 ERA plus, and a WAR of 1.9. It's by far my biggest score. Let's see, he's got real stirrups on, but that is it. Nothing else. Didn't have that goatee at this point. First round draft pick by the White Sox, 5th overall in 1987. He was traded to the Yankees for Lyle Mouton. That was it. It must have been his final year of his contract, I'm assuming. Musician, been in several bands as well, of which I have not listened to. Sure, he's no Ruben Sierra. Yeah, and unfortunately, I think because those bands weren't very popular, I can't really call them pop culture.
Yeah, you gotta have like a modicum of popularity.
But here, I mean, Wikipedia has an entire entry for Jack called "In Pop Culture."
Well, there you go.
It's just talking about that he formed yet another band with some other guys called the Baseball Project to pay homage to America's greatest pastime. It contains a song called "The Yankee Flipper," which I guess he wasn't in this band. This band, one of their songs was called "The Yankee Flipper," about that incident where he flipped off the crowd as he was leaving. Apparently, he said now that he was out late the night before drinking.
Yeah, that causes me to flip off crowds.
Yeah, I don't think that's really going to count as a pop culture reference, though. And my final card, I'm a 3.9, so I only need like a 12.5 WAR here from Trevor Wilson from the Giants.
Might be a tough one.
Without looking it up, what do you say you give me Trevor Wilson's career WAR and see, do you think you'd still beat me?
Yeah.
I'm going to guess you probably would. Career WAR, yeah, 2.6. Trevor Wilson, 8 years in the big league, 7 with San Francisco, 1 with the Anaheim Angels. I think they were the Anaheim Angels at that point. Yeah. Let's see, in 1991, 13-11 with 44 games, 29 starts, 3.56 ERA, and a 1.01 ERA plus. And that is good for a WAR of 1.8. That's like most of his career WAR right there.
There was the majority of it.
Yeah, 1.8. Nothing really that exciting to talk about for Trevor Wilson outside of that 1.8 WAR. And yeah, so looking at the scoreboard, I had a 5.7. You had a 16.3. So we'll crunch.
Finally, I stopped the losing streak.
Yeah, we'll crunch the numbers here, but it looks like you've come out on top. Congratulations. To another victory. I hope this is not the beginning of the end for me.
Well, you never know.
But you know what I do know? This is the beginning of the end of the show because this is our last segment and we just finished it.
So, that you got correct.
That's how it works. Yeah, so I'm going to have to leave the beautiful air-conditioned studios here that is not hot at all.
No.
But let me just say this about Trevor Wilson. He was the 27th pitcher in Major League history to throw an immaculate inning in 1992. So there you go.
Nice.
Something
okay.
About him. All right. If you want to get a hold of us, you can find us on all the socials. You can also find a list of all of those socials in the show notes. We're mainly on Facebook and Threads. I'll check the former Bird app every now and then, but not the best way to get a hold of us. But we do have something that will immediately light up Mark's phone. A signal goes off, the bat signal goes up in the air. Mark drops everything, no matter what he's doing, if we get an email at this email address that Mark's going to tell you about.
Yeah, you can write to us at 2strike-noise, spell it out, not the number, TWO, strike noise at gmail.com.
So he sleeps with the phone by him, too. So if you want to text him.
Just hoping and dreaming of getting contacted.
Yeah, if you want to write an email in the middle of the night, you can really scare him. But it's a good scare. He likes it. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it helps.
All right. So that'll do it for this episode of the show. We will be back again, and we hope you will, too. So we will see you on the next episode of 2 Strike Noise.
Thank you. God bless you. Have a great day.